Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another meal prep video. For breakfast prep this week, I'm going to be making egg bites, or I guess you could call them omelet bites. And then for lunch prep, it's going to be a hearty beef stew. And then I have my dinner kits to put together and also my snacks. So if you want to see how I pull this all together for my husband and I for the week, then stay with me. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kristi and I'm Planning Us Healthy. If you're new here, welcome. Like I said, my name is Kristi. I'm currently following the WW Blue program, but on my channel, I provide points for all three programs, and I also share calories as well. I'd love to have you as part of the family by clicking the subscribe button, and also make sure to hit the notification bell. That way you're notified anytime I upload new content. So typically I meal prep for my husband and I for 3 days for the week, usually just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday we do something different. I just really don't like to meal prep out beyond 3 days. So for breakfast and lunch, I actually cook those and put those together, and we just reheat them throughout the week. And then for dinners, I do kind of like DIY dinner kits where I'm just portioning everything into a bag and getting it into a kit, portioned out. I'm weighing them, measuring them, so it's kind of like portion control. I only have in the kit what I need for the recipe. Also, any of the recipes you see me sharing will be linked down in the description box below, as well as any of the items I use, such as my meal prep containers, my scale, my measuring spoons, anything like that. I try and link that down below. And finally, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you like these type of videos, it really does help my channel. So let's get started with meal prep. Starting out with breakfast this week, we're going to do Instant Pot omelet egg bites. If you don't have an Instant Pot though, you can do these in your oven as well. I do have oven directions that I'll link down below. This recipe I don't actually have a link for, so I'll just be typing it in the description box. So for this one, it's going to be 2 points on blue, 2 points on purple, and 6 points on green, and 203 calories. I am doing it a little bit different than I did it last time. The last time I used Appleton Farms biscuit ham slices. This time I'm going to be using Canadian bacon, but the points are going to be the same, and when I plugged the calories into my FitnessPal, it was still coming out right around 200 calories. So as I always say, just make sure you build it in your own tracker. Like I've said before, lots of brands can be different points. So for this one, it's going to have 3 egg bites per serving. The egg bites are going to be this size. So I have these egg bite molds, so that's how big they are. It's going to make 18 of them. So for the 18, I need 12 eggs, a 1/3 cup of reduced fat cheddar, so any type of reduced fat cheddar will work, and then 2 ounces of 1/3 less fat cream cheese, and make sure to get that room temperature. And then, like I said before, I used 3 ounces Appleton Farms biscuit ham slices. This time I'm using 6 slices of the Canadian bacon, and then also a 1/4 cup of water. Some salt and pepper, and also some everything bagel seasoning, just because this makes everything taste good. So put in whatever spices you want. You can actually add vegetables if you want to add a little bit of green onion or anything you want to add to these. You can do that as well, but we're actually going to do our vegetables on the side. What I'm going to do now is just cut up my Canadian bacon into little slices, or little pieces actually, and I'm just using a pizza cutter. Now I'm going to put the 1/4 cup of water in there and the eggs and whisk those together. Okay, after that's all mixed together, now add the cream cheese, and hopefully it's at room temperature enough. And then just try to kind of go through and mix it in as much as you can, just so that it's not in big clumps. Then add in the 1/3 cup of cheese and the bacon. And then finally some salt, pepper, and like I said, I'm gonna use some everything bagel seasoning. Okay, after that's all mixed, as you can see, the cream cheese does it doesn't like blend right in with it. That's okay, as long as you have it in small pieces. So now I'm just gonna take a ladle and fill these egg molds. I actually did this one time before and I put all 3 egg molds in the Instant Pot, but I wasn't even thinking. That was when I first bought my Instant Pot and it filled it past that fill line at the top. So this time I'm just gonna put 2 in there at a time, so I'll have to do this in batches. I'll do 2 of them and then I'll do 1 of them after the 2 are done. So just go through and fill each of the molds with the egg mixture. All right, so I have 14 and then plus the 4. So I'm just gonna cook these 2 first and then that one I'll just cook by itself after. So now I'm just gonna cover them. And I think I forgot to say that I did spray these molds just with a real light spray of cooking spray too. All right, so I'll set that one aside and let me make sure these are all sealed. Now I'm gonna take my trivet and I'll just put them on the trivet, and that way I can lower them down into the Instant Pot. So now I'm just going to lower them down into the Instant Pot. I have 1 cup of water down in the bottom of there. So now make sure your Instant Pot is in the sealing position. Mine automatically does it. So pressure cook for 9 minutes on high. Now when that's done, we're gonna let it naturally release for 9 minutes and then quick release the rest of the pressure. Okay, so I just got done washing some broccoli and red peppers. So while the egg bites are cooking, I'm gonna get this broccoli and red peppers steaming. I've just got some water in the bottom of this glass dish. I'm just gonna make these in the microwave. So we're gonna have these on the side. Broccoli for breakfast. Yes, I love broccoli. I could eat broccoli all day long, honestly. So I've just washed the broccoli and cut it into bite-sized pieces. I was gonna roast it in the oven, but I really don't want to turn my oven on, so I'm just gonna put these in the microwave. I'm just gonna cover it with paper towels and cook it for about 5 minutes. And then it'll finish cooking the day we reheat it. So the peppers, I'm just gonna cut into little pieces. So you can make whatever you want with your egg bites. The reason that I want to do the broccoli and peppers is because I need to have my breakfast low because my lunch is a little bit higher in points than I usually have. So that's what I do. If I have something that's higher in point for breakfast or lunch, then I just equal it out with the other one. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Cover it with some paper towel, and I think with that much I'm going to cook it for 6 minutes. The other thing we're going to have with it is this Sugar Kiss melon. So we're going to be having the egg bites, the broccoli and peppers, and then this melon. So I'm just going to cut this into chunks. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these 3 compartment trays. I should be able to get the 3 egg bites in there. And then I'll put my broccoli in here. And then in this side, I'm going to put the fruit. And I'm just going to put these little silicone liners in there. That way I can pull the fruit out so that I can heat the rest of it the day we heat it. Actually, it might work out better just to put 2 of them in there. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll just put 2 of them in each one. Slight change of plans. I remember when I put the cantaloupe in with eggs, when I made eggs one time, and the flavor of the cantaloupe was kind of into the eggs. So I'm gonna put the cantaloupe separate, which is good because I think I'm gonna need more room than just this for the broccoli anyway. So I'm just transferring the cantaloupe. I've got 2 of these dishes and then I have 4 of these. I got these from Grove. I really like those. I want to get a couple more. Okay, so I'm going to set the fruit aside. My broccoli just got done, so I'm going to get that dished out. And then the eggs are on the countdown. They are actually naturally releasing right now. So the broccoli and peppers are done. So just cook them to your liking. You could actually just eat yours raw if you want. So now just spread those out amongst the 6 dishes. And then just to add a little bit of spray butter. I'm just using this, I can't believe it's not butter, spray butter. Now we're gonna let the rest of the pressure out, which actually there isn't any. And that's what they do. They puff up over the top. All right, let me pull those out of there. All right, let me move this here so I can show you what the egg bites look like. So they're not the prettiest looking things on that side. And the cream cheese really kind of settles up, but the cream cheese really helps them taste creamy. So now just take a spoon and flip them over, and that is what they look like. They are so good. So I'm going to put the rest of these in here, and in the meantime, I've already started the other egg bites, so I have the other 4 to go. So when those are done, I'll get those in here as well. So that's going to be our breakfast, and like I said, it's 2 points on blue and purple, 6 points on green, and then if you're counting calories, it's about 200 calories for the egg bites, and then of course just make sure to account for any vegetables or fruit that you have with it. Okay, now we're moving on to lunch. For lunch this week, I'm doing Instant Pot Hearty beef stew. You definitely can do this in the slow cooker if you don't have an Instant Pot. So for this one, it is 8 points on blue and green and 6 points on purple. And that's why I needed to do a lower point breakfast, because usually for my lunches, I don't usually like to go over like 5 or 6 points on blue. So since that's a little higher, I did lower for breakfast. And the calories on this, according to the website, are 271 calories. That is if you make it exactly like what is in here. And this makes enough for 8. The only thing that I do different is I don't use the tablespoon of oil. Usually what you do is put the oil in your Instant Pot and use that to saute it. I'm just going to use some cooking spray. So the ingredients we need for this are 1 packet of this slow cooker McCormick Hearty beef stew. This recipe is off of the McCormick website. I love this recipe. I just kind of do it, add a little bit of tweaks to it. So I'm going to be using 2 pounds of stew meat, also 1 1/3 cups of water, and then like I said, the tablespoon of oil, that's up to you. I'm just going to spray my Instant Pot. For the potatoes and carrots, they have 2 cups of cubed potatoes and 1 1/2 cups of peeled and cubed carrots. I'm going to be using 1 3/4 pounds of potatoes and 3/4 pound of carrots. So I have 3 carrots here, which is about 3/4 pound. I also have an onion and then some celery. I usually do like 3 to 4 stalks. I have more than that here because I'll put some of these in a mason jar and just use them to snack on throughout the week. So the first thing I'm going to do is get these washed up. So all I do to wash my fruits and vegetables is just use my OXO salad spinner here, and then I put about 4 parts water to 1 part white vinegar. So I'm gonna let that sit while I peel the rest of my vegetables. Normally I'd wash my carrots and potatoes as well, but today I'm gonna be peeling them, so I don't need to wash them.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon and the far.
All right, now set that aside. And now what I'm gonna do, I have this bag here that is scraps for broth, and I just made a broth recently, so I don't have one of these in my freezer. So all those scraps I just had, I'm gonna throw in this bag and put this right in my freezer for the next time I make broth. Now what I'm gonna do is take my stew meat, put it in a bowl. And one thing I forgot to mention, something that I do, you don't have to do this, but I do add a 1/4 cup of flour. This is included in the points, but not the calories. So if you add this and you're on calories, make sure to account for any extra calories. So I just really like my beef stew real thick. There is things to thicken in this mix, but I just like to add some extra flour. So what I usually do is put about half of this in with the beef, and then I save the other half for the end if I want to add it just to thicken it up at the end. So I'm just going to put about half of that in there. And another thing I do is add some garlic salt, just because we really like garlic, so I like some extra garlic flavor to this. And then just mix that all up. Okay, once that's mixed, now bring it over to the Instant Pot. Now we're gonna put this on saute on high. And I'm just gonna hit start just to turn it on. Now give it a spray with olive oil spray. Now we're just gonna let that heat up for just a minute and then add the stew meat. Now while that's heating, I'm just gonna rinse off my celery. And I'll just let that sit and drain a minute, and then I'm gonna dice that up while the stew meat is cooking. All right, now what I usually do is just put a little water on my fingers, and as long as I can hear it sizzle, then I know it's heated. And just add the meat. And we're gonna let this sit and saute for about 5 minutes. And just keep stirring it occasionally, especially if you're not using the 1 tablespoon of olive oil. If you just sprayed it, make sure to keep stirring it. And now I'm also gonna add in my onion. So the recipe doesn't say to add the onion, but I do wanna saute my onion up some. So I'm gonna add that with the meat. So while that starts sauteing, now I'm just gonna dice up my celery. All right, and then I'm gonna save the rest of that for snacks for the week. So now we're gonna take the beef stew mix, and we're gonna mix that with 1 1/3 cups of water. And just whisk that together real well. And now just check on the meat, stirring it up. All right, so after the meat's been sauteing about 5 minutes, now I'm gonna actually shut it off. I'm gonna hit cancel. The recipe at this point says to add the vegetables and the mixture, but I'm gonna add a little bit of this first because I like to take that and kind of deglaze the pan. Just kind of scrape all that off the bottom because that is where the flavor's at. And now just add in all the vegetables. Now, one other thing I'm going to be adding to mine is some peas. So I'm just going to add some frozen peas. Usually what I do is just cook those in the microwave and add those at the end. And then just dump that right in. Make sure everything's off the bottom. So if you have any of that mixture stuck to the bottom, just make sure to get that in there. And give it a good mix. And then top goes on. And then now this is going to go on pressure cook. If you have the Instant Pot that has the stew button, then use that, but mine doesn't, so I just do pressure cook for right about 30 minutes. So now we're going to let that cook the 30 minutes, and then we're going to do a quick release when it's done. Okay, so I have let the steam out of this. I did a quick release. Now I'm just gonna add these peas. So these are just microwave peas. It was just a half a bag, so I just stuck them in my microwave for like 2 minutes, and they'll finish cooking the rest of the way in here. I'm just gonna stick those in there and just stir it up. And then that's it. I'm gonna let that cool a little bit before I put them in my meal prep containers. Okay, so I had my 6 meal prep containers together, and then I remembered this actually makes 8. So I'm just gonna put 8 together, and I don't know if we'll end up doing it for lunches or if I'll just have dinner. We may end up just doing it for a dinner. So I did go ahead and add the rest of that flour just to kind of thicken it up. So let me show you how thick this is. It's pretty thick. So if you don't want to use the flour, you don't have to, but I just really like it thick. So now I'm just going to go through and portion this out into my meal prep containers. Okay, so they're all portioned out. I only have 5 of the ones with the 2 compartment and 5 of the singles. So I just used 5 of these ones and then 3 of the singles. That makes a pretty decent portion. So we're also going to have some cucumbers with these. And I'm just doing it with 5 of them, the ones that are the single compartment. I'm not going to worry about it. So I just put them in these little muffin cups, and we'll just pull those out before we heat them up. And I'm going to use this Olive Garden light Italian dressing. So I'm just going to pour just a tiny little bit in each one. So that is going to be our lunches this week. So now we're moving on to dinner kits. If you're new to my channel, I do DIY dinner kits. It's basically just like, if you've ever tried like Home Chef, Blue Apron, those type of services, it's basically like that. I just do my own. So I'm portioning everything out, and I'm not cutting or washing anything right now, just portioning it out and putting it in the kit. And that way when I get home from work during the week, everything's already portioned out and ready to go in my kit. I just pull it out and put everything together. So the first one I'm doing is paprika baked pork tenderloin with potatoes and broccoli. This one is 7 points on blue and green, 5 points on purple, and 353 calories. I'll link these bags down in the description box. They are reusable silicone bags. And I just write on these with a dry erase marker, and then it just washes off nice. You can't put these bags in the dishwasher. That's the only thing with these ones. But I do believe they have bags now that can go in the dishwasher. This one is actually an eating well recipe. So basically what I do is just go through the ingredients and see what I can portion out. So in this kit, I already have it together. So let me just take it apart and kind of show you what's in there. I have broccoli down in the bottom. Like I said, it's not washed. I have potatoes, so I have 6 ounces of potatoes in there. The recipe is for a serving of 4, so I'm just going to be doing two portions, one for me, one for my husband. So I'm just taking everything and cutting it in half. So I have the 6 ounces of potatoes. I have a red onion. The olive oil, I won't put that in there. I'll do that the night that I have it. And then the salt, the pepper, I don't do anything like that. I don't put that in there. So I have the broccoli in there. I also have a garlic clove in there. I went ahead and put the Dijon mustard in there. So it's 2 teaspoons for the 4 servings. I just went ahead and did 2 teaspoons for the 2 servings. I'll put like a teaspoon over each pork. I also have the topping for the pork put together. So in here I have 3/4 of a teaspoon of paprika, about 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I have that in there. And then in here are 2 roasted red peppers. They're the jarred roasted red peppers. They come in a jar. I think the brand that I have is Mazeda. They're just roasted red peppers that are in water. So make sure you get the kind in water, not oil. And then I have my 10 ounces of pork tenderloin medallions. These are just pork tenderloin that I've cut into little medallions. So 10 ounces of that. The recipe actually calls for a pound, which would be 4 ounces per serving, but I'm doing 5 ounces per serving. So that's basically all I do. And then, like I said, any of the other ingredients, I'll just do it the night that I make it. But it has everything portioned out, weighed out. So like my potatoes are already weighed, everything's ready to go. So if I want to, I could go through tonight and I could put in my tracker for the week because I know exactly how much I'm going to be having. But I don't necessarily know the days that I'm going to be having these. I kind of change them up. Just depends what I feel like each day. We're also going to be having zucchini noodles with pesto and chicken. This is also a recipe idea that I got from Eating Well. I say idea because I'm kind of just taking the recipe and doing something different. So they're putting the pesto together. I'm going to be taking a shortcut and using this McCormick pesto sauce mix. So the points on this are 8 blue and purple, 10 points on green, at 430 calories. And that is using this pesto sauce and also using the 3 tablespoons of olive oil that it calls for. So depending on whether you use this, if you don't use as much of the olive oil, that could change your points. So it's completely up to you. I'm going to use a full amount of olive oil in mine. So for this one, very easy. All I have is my 2 zucchini in there. I have 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. I'm just gonna top each of our servings with a tablespoon each of Parmesan cheese. So I have that in there. And then I have my chicken, which usually is 10 ounces of chicken, but apparently when I separated all this chicken, last week's was 12 ounces as well. So I have that, I'll put that in there. I'm on blue, so it doesn't matter, but if you're on green or counting calories, make sure to account for exactly how much chicken you use. And then the pesto, I'll just pop that in there for now. So that's all there is to that one. Everything's already portioned, ready to go. And then this one, y'all have seen me do a lot of times. This is basil Parmesan salmon. This is a skinny taste recipe that is so good. I think my favorite salmon recipes, honestly, are probably the skinny taste basil Parmesan and then my garlic Parmesan. My bourbon one is pretty good too though. So I love salmon. And for this one, I'm gonna do rice and asparagus. This is 6 points on blue and purple, 9 points on green, 395 plus calories because it just depends on how much vegetables you have in there. For this one, for the side, I actually use this ready rice. This is 3 points for half a cup. So I have this in the bag just to show you, but I'll keep this in my pantry until the night we have it. So this one's very easy. The only thing you do is take the topping for the salmon. This is 1.5 tablespoons of light mayonnaise, 1.5 tablespoons of Parmesan, and some dried basil. You can use fresh basil if you want. And then you just mix it all together, and this goes over the top of the salmon and you air fry it. It's so good. So down in here, I have my salmon in there, and then I also have my asparagus down in there. That all I've done with the asparagus is cut the ends off, but I'll wash it the night we have it. So that one is very easy to put that kit together. So that is a quick rundown of how I do my dinner kits. So basically just take any recipe that you want to make and just kind of go through it and see what things you can put together, especially toppings. I think the biggest thing is like toppings that go on like your meats or any vegetables if you're doing things like that. It's so easy to just put the toppings together. In fact, this pesto, you could actually put the pesto sauce together now. Just mix up this with a half a cup of water and 3 tablespoons of oil and put that in a container, and that way it's ready to go and you won't even have to mix that. So that's something that actually I probably could have done easily. So that's it for dinner kits. Now I'm going to put together my snacks. So this week I actually had planned on the cantaloupe being for snacks, but then I decided to have that with the breakfast, which honestly, I don't know, that's a really big breakfast, so it's very possible I won't eat the cantaloupe with it. So now what I'm going to do is just take the rest of my celery and cut it up, and then I'm just going to put it in this mason jar. I have some water in there, and then I'll just set it in my fridge, and that way they're already washed and we can just grab them throughout the week. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna need another mason jar actually. So I'll get another mason jar in a minute. I'm gonna set that aside for now and just show you what I'm gonna do next. So the next thing I'm gonna do is have some goldfish and some Laughing Cow cheese. I had these a couple weeks ago and I really did enjoy them. For these goldfish, you can have 55 of them for 4 points. I don't wanna have that many points for a snack, so I'm just gonna do 32 of them for 2 points. 32 of them is also 17 grams, so I'm just gonna weigh them out. It'll be easier. And then that'll be 2 points, and then I'm just gonna have a Laughing Cow cheese wedge with them as well. These are 1 point, so it'll be a 3-point snack. All right, so there we go. There's about 32 in there, and then put in my cheese wedge, and then I just keep these in the fridge. You don't have to. Some people don't like how the crackers get in the fridge. Personally, for me, they still taste crispy. They're just cold, that's all. So that's all I'm gonna do with those. And those will be my little 3-point snacks that'll be ready. I can just pull them out whenever I want them. I'll have my celery. I also have pudding cups. Now this isn't all that I have, so throughout the week I have different things. I'm also going to have my apple. I have some apples left that I will use the apples and PB2 mixture. You just take the PB2 powder and mix it in with cut up apples in a bowl. It is so good that way. I don't add water, although many of you have said to add sugar-free syrup to that, and I tried it and that is so good. It's almost like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like the powdered, it takes the powder away, but just kind of adds like a caramelized apple. And then the other thing I have is pudding, and I do like a chocolate mousse with the pudding. I mix pudding and PB2 and Ready Whip together. That's really good as well. I have a video for that I'll link down below. So that's what we ended up with. So like I said, these are all my snacks over here. I have my apples, my PB2, my Ready Whip. I do have a protein yogurt there that's left. I have my 2-point pudding and my celery. I'll put that in the fridge like that. And then my little goldfish and Laughing Cow cheese. Have my dinner kits, my lunches, and my breakfast and fruit. And I have a feeling that fruit is gonna end up being a snack throughout the week, because this just I think is gonna fill us. And then another thing you could do with these is, now my husband and I are strange. We like mustard on our eggs. I don't know what it is about it. So we may put some mustard on the side, or you could put some hot sauce, whatever you want there. And then I already sprayed it with spray butter, but I do have some spray butter at work. But if you wanted to just add a little bit of butter, you could do that. So that's going to do it for this week's meal prep. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe. I'll talk to you in my next video. I'm Kristi, and I'm planning us healthy.
Don't you know that